All Progressive Congress, APC, in Kano State on Sunday called on the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, to launch a full-scale investigation into the latest scandal involving the medical supply contracts to 44 local government areas in the state. This is contained in a statement issued by the chairman of the APC, Alhaji Abdullahi Abbas, in Kano on Sunday. Abbas called for the freezing of the accounts of the local government councils in the state to stop further plundering of their resources in the name of joint projects. He said that the admission by the governor, Abba Yusuf, that he was not aware of the sleaze, that was clear indication that he was either not in control or lacked capacity to lead the state. Abbas described as laughable the directive given to the State Public Complaints and Anti-Corruption Commission to probe the matter. The chairman pointed out that going by his antecedents, the chairman of the commission, Magaji Remain Gado, was partisan, compromised, and lacked the power to investigate the scandal allegedly involving the immediate family of the members of the governor's father-in-law and embattled leader of the ruling New Nigeria People's Party, NNPP, in the state, Senator Rabiu Musa Kwakwanso. Yes, sir. I'll start with you, Mr. Kingsley, sir. Yes, concerning the sleaze that was being reported in the administration of Abba Yusuf in Kano State, although the NNPP has always projected this holy, clean party for the future nature since its antecedents in Kano State, and they are trying to make inroads in Kaduna State and maybe perhaps in some part of the north, and maybe remain a mainstay of the north. But here, I mean, 44 local government areas, and the chairman of the APC in the state is calling for a probe for medical supplies that were made to the 44 local government areas using the family members and maybe the person of Rabiu Musa Kwakwanso. Do you have any objections to what was said by the APC chairman, or you concur, sir?
Well, I think that there are so many things actually to be investigated upon in most of the states in Nigeria. There are a lot of things that are not working the way they ought to work, and that is why poverty is increasing, that is why insecurity is increasing, that is why Nigerians are living below what a normal human being should. I mean, Nigerians are living in a condition that is below what a normal human being should live in. So be that as it may, this issue of drug supply to the 44 local government areas of Kano State is one of such things, such issues that should be investigated. The people that are calling for investigation, yes, they have the right to call for investigation, but they're not also very clean to them, because they say he who is looking for justice should also come with equity. I mean, so if you are calling for investigation of the 44 local government and their medical supplies, you should be one who is also clean and devoid of such thing as corruption. We saw what happened to the former Kano State governor, who is the chieftain of the APC, who is the chairman of the APC as we speak today. We saw what happened to him. We saw how he was putting money into his Babariga clothes and things like that. But those are not actually my main issue. My main issue is that the body that is being called upon to take an action, which is the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, I think that time has gone past when they will be reminded on what they should do. You know, I think we should build a system that makes it easy, makes it easy, more effective, such that agencies of government should know what constitutes infraction, and they should tackle it without anybody having to remind them or prevail on them. I don't want to believe that EFCC have not seen if there is anything called, if there is any sleaze, so to say, in the medical supplies. So if the EFCC have seen it, they don't need anybody to remind them to go after those who are responsible for such sleaze. So I think that the whole thing in Kano, the whole situation in Kano State calls for thorough investigation, because if you look at it critically, on the part of the state government led by Abba Yusuf and his new Nigerian People's Party, you will notice that if you are spending huge amount of money carrying out medical supplies to the 44 local government areas of the state, has that translated into good health of the residents of those local government areas? The answer is still not, it's neither here nor there. So if the supplies are not getting to where they are desired to get to, then I think that EFCC should not look at anybody's face. EFCC should just weigh in on the matter and then bring the culprits to book. We can't continue to use what is supposed to be for the generality of the people to patronize very few individuals. Already in the story, the son-in-law or father-in-law, someone connected to the governor, is already being fingered as being responsible for these supplies. And if that is the truth, I can assure you that this matter will just die just like that. It will just be, just as they have said it, that is why it's going to end. Because even the APC themselves, if they get themselves into power, the same thing will continue to happen. So it's just for EFCC to be independent-minded, detach themselves from the appointing authorities, and serve the Nigerian people, knowing that the money that is being frittered away through these controversial medical supply contracts belongs to the Nigerian people. Those are money that are supposed to be used for other things, better health care, good roads, and what have you. And so if it is frittered away by those who have access to power, then Nigeria will not get anywhere, will not get any better.
Okay. Dr. Monia, sir.
Well,
Following up from where Mr. Izejobi dropped off from, being that these medical supplies will be of immense help to the generality of the populace of Kano State. And somehow sleaze has been identified amongst the way that the contract has been handled in the whole 44 local government areas, which is a lot. And I want to know from you, is there a way that these supplies would have been carried out in order to bypass corruption or corrupt practices that would have infiltrated in its supply and in its execution of that contract, sir?
Well, it's rather unfortunate that in fact, before one proceeds, I would say that it's always a pleasure being with Nigerians. And when situations like this occur, I, as an individual, I don't really believe in pinpointing at problems, but I believe in looking at solutions, things that can better resolve the issues. Be that as it may, I would also want to state that it is rather unfortunate that such occurrences are being mentioned. But one would not rush to a conclusion because it has not been investigated. A competent court of jurisdiction has not been able to pass judgment for us to ascertain that such crime or claims has taken place. Again, when discussions like this is coming up, I think it is an eye-opener or something that the government should not just relax upon. The way and manner contracts are given is constituted. It is not like man-no-man kind of thing. There are processes the government gives contracts. And if those processes are followed adequately, I think the other aspect to look at is if actually such, because if it is not followed expressly, you find situations like this. If it is followed, it is difficult for anybody to go away with money that is being assigned for various projects. If we, as we speak, if that's the case, then there are people dying to that effect because of what few individuals or group of people are benefiting.
And this is not a welcome development to Nigeria. Whether the person's crying out is of the same political party or not, to me, is consequential, because the issue here is life at stake. The purpose by which such finances were released is to save lives. People, if you go to clinic, you see that people are really suffering and need help. So it is not whether father-in-law is involved or not. If the father-in-law is involved, as mentioned, then why they cry out? It means that that is not the issue. Anybody, you must be related to someone. But the fact is that you should carry out expressly what you're asked to do. If you're not capable of doing it, no need scheming for the job. And you should not use what will benefit Nigerians' life, especially, for granted.
Okay, sir. Okay. So, Kingsley, sir, being that the Supreme Court has granted financial autonomy to the local government areas, and we are still seeing a result where a joint account owned by the state and the local governments are still being utilized by the state government. In the person of the state governor, although he is claiming not to know how this came about, but definitely the buck stopped in at his table. Are these ways and means that have been frittered, that the local government's finances have been frittered away, or the Supreme Court's judgment that has been brought upon the local government's financial autonomy? Are the state governors bypassing or denying the powers in that judgment, sir?
Well, the issue of the Supreme Court's decision on local government financial autonomy is neither here nor there. Because the local governments, before the Supreme Court spoke, are not directly dependent on the state government by the way they were set up. It's just that those who are occupying the offices, the governors and the local government chairmen, you find a situation whereby the local governments are occupied by the governor's boys. So the governor finds a way to put his boys in the local government just to settle them and not to demand any accountability from them. And that situation has not changed. The political parties are still highly monetized. And most of the people that are going to occupy the local government offices may not have the wherewithal to be able to buy the forms and buy the tickets and do the campaigns and win the election. You still see that the governors will be the ones who will come and help out. And by helping out, the governors will also, as I just said, dictate what happens in those local government areas. Even though the Supreme Court has given the local government financial autonomy, has the Supreme Court also said that the governor does no longer have any right to dismiss an elected chairman of a local government, irrespective of what the situation is? Because before now, the law says the local government chairman can be removed if there are security issues, if the chairman's stay in the office has become a source of insecurity in the particular locality, the governor can employ the doctrine of necessity and what have you, and probably declare state of emergency in such a local government, and then take over the running of the local government. Has that clause been removed? If that clause is still there, I can bet you that the governors will still find their way to keep the local governments in check in such a way that the local governments, even though they are financially independent, but they cannot spend money as people who are financially independent. Why? Because the governors will want to use them to do campaign. The governors will want to use them to shine. The governors want to make sure that everything that happens in those local governments are attributed to him as the governor and not to the local government. So the issue in Kano is not about financial autonomy. The issue in Kano is about the fact that supplies made to local governments councils by the state government is suspicious APC is alleging that there are some dirty dealings around those supplies. So it has nothing to do with financial autonomy of the local. It's not the local. The local governments can actually procure their own medical. They can procure their drugs. They can do whatever they want to do. But the truth remains: will they be able to do it, or will they play politics with it? And I think that so far, politics is what they are playing, and they are not doing any governance.
All right. Just before the Supreme Court or the instrumentality thereof is able to separate totally the local government from the state government's apron strings, we await for political autonomy to follow up the economic autonomy given to the local government authorities.